The observation deck of the stellar command vessel, Artemis, offered an unobstructed view of humanity's greatest achievement, the terraformed paradise of New Eden. Commander Talia Nash stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching the golden sunlight dance across the planet's azure oceans. 3 decades of human ingenuity had transformed this once barren world into home for over 2 million colonists. The calm shattered as Lieutenant Rivera burst through the deck's doors. Commander. Multiple quantum signatures detected at the system's edge. It's the Dominion fleet. Talia's jaw tightened. Emperor Zaratha's forces weren't due for their annual inspection for another 3 months. Something was wrong. Sound General Quarters. Get me a direct line to New Eden's Defense Command. The ship's corridors erupted with activity as crew members rushed to battle stations. Talia strode onto the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. Dozens of Dominion warships materialized from quantum space, their distinctive blade-like silhouettes blotting out the stars. Message from the flagship, Commander, Communications Officer Jensen reported, his voice wavering. It's Emperor Zarath himself. The Emperor's holographic form materialized before them. Zaratha's crystalline body structure caught the light, creating prismatic patterns across the bridge. His 4 sets of eyes focused on Talia with predatory intensity. Commander Nash, his voice resonated with artificial warmth. Your colony has been found guilty of harboring seditious elements against the Dominion. The sentence is absolute. Talia stepped forward. Your Excellence, there must be some mistake. New Eden is a peaceful dash. The time for diplomacy has passed, Zarath interrupted. Consider this a lesson in obedience. The transmission cut off. Talia watched in horror as the Dominion fleet's weapon arrays brightened with deadly purpose. Launch all fighters. Contact planetary defense. Get those shields dash. The first salvo struck New Eden's atmospheric shields with devastating force. The barrier held for precious seconds before collapsing under the sustained assault. Subsequent waves of energy weapons carved burning channels across the planet's surface, turning pristine forests and gleaming cities into ash. Get me everything we have. Talia ordered. All ships, engage the enemy. We have to buy time for evacuations. The Artemis shuddered as its weapons opened fire, joined by the rest of the defense fleet. But their efforts were like raindrops against a forest fire. Dominion ships brushed aside their attacks with contemptuous ease, continuing their methodical destruction of the colony. On the tactical display, civilian transport signatures winked out one by one. Emergency beacons screamed into the void before falling silent. Talia watched helplessly as the paradise she had helped protect for 5 years died by imperial decree. Commander, Rivera's voice cracked. We're detecting massive energy buildup in the Dominion flagship. They're preparing to fire their primary weapon. Talia's nails dug into her palms. How many transports made it out? 17, ma'am. Out of 300 launched. A blinding beam of concentrated energy lanced from Zaratha's flagship, striking New Eden's core. The planet's surface began to crack, intense light bleeding through the fissures. Talia knew what came next. All surviving ships, jump to emergency coordinates immediately, she ordered, her voice steady despite the rage and grief threatening to overwhelm her. Record everything. The galaxy needs to know what happened here. The Artemis's quantum drive engaged just as New Eden exploded, the shockwave destroying everything caught in its path. As the ship entered quantum space, Talia made a silent vow. This wouldn't be the end. Humanity had lost battles before, had faced extinction more than once. But they had always returned, stronger and more determined. Send word to every human outpost and ship, she commanded. New Eden has fallen. But we are not finished. Not while a single human draws breath. Today, Emperor Zarath has made the greatest mistake of his eternal life, he has given humanity nothing left to lose. The Artemis streaked through quantum space, carrying with it the seeds of resistance. On its bridge, Commander Talia Nash began planning humanity's response to imperial genocide. The galaxy would soon learn why even gods should fear the wrath of the human spirit. The research facility on Helios Station hung in the shadow of a dead star, its worn exterior betraying none of the breakthrough occurring within its walls. Dr. Rohan Patel stood before a holographic display, his weathered face illuminated by streams of alien data. 3 months had passed since New Eden's destruction, and humanity's remaining colonies existed in a state of perpetual fear. But fear wasn't what drove Rohan's fingers across the console with desperate intensity. It was hope, hope buried in the artifacts recovered from the mysterious ruins on Proxima 7. Running Analysis Sequence 47, his AI assistant announced. Correlating patterns with known predecessor technology. Rohan barely blinked as new data cascaded across the display. For decades, humanity had discovered fragments of technology left behind by the predecessors, an ancient civilization that vanished long before humans reached the stars. Most considered them simple relics. Rohan saw something more. Cross-reference with the quantum signature readings from New Eden's destruction, he ordered. The holographic display shifted, overlaying 2 seemingly unrelated datasets. Rohan's heart raced as patterns emerged. Doctor, a new voice called. Professor Jun Wei, his longtime colleague, entered the lab. The board is demanding results. They're threatening to shut us down. Rohan gestured at the display. Look at this, Jun. The energy signature from Zaratha's weapons, it's almost identical to the quantum resonance patterns in the predecessor artifacts. The Dominion didn't develop their technology independently. They discovered it, just like we did. June studied the data, her eyes widening. But their weapons are centuries ahead of anything we've managed to extract from the artifacts. Because they found more than fragments, Rohan explained. The ruins on Proxima 7, they're just a small piece of something much larger. The predecessors left behind entire facilities, possibly weapons. The Dominion found them first, but they missed something crucial. He manipulated the display, highlighting a recurring sequence in the alien code. The predecessors built failsafes into their technology. Quantum locks that respond to specific resonance patterns. The Dominion brute-forced their way through, but we can do better. How? June asked. Before Rohan could answer, the station's alert system blared to life. Attention all personnel. Unidentified vessels detected entering the system. This is not a drill. Rohan's blood ran cold. They'd been found. Transfer all data to secure storage. Initiate purge protocols. The research June protested. Will mean nothing if the Dominion gets their hands on it. Rohan activated the emergency beacon hidden beneath his workstation. Commander Nash needs to know what we found. The station shuddered as the first impact struck its shields. Rohan worked frantically, encrypting key data while deletion protocols erased years of research from the main systems. A squad of security personnel burst into the lab. Dr. Patel, Professor Wei, we need to move now. June grabbed the physical artifacts, securing them in a quantum-shielded case. Rohan finished the data transfer just as another blast rocked the station. They ran through corridors filled with panicked researchers and staff. The artifacts are the key, Rohan gasped as they reached the evacuation pods. The predecessors left behind more than weapons, they left a way to fight back. Find the primary facility. Find the quantum key. What about you? June demanded. Rohan pressed a data crystal into her hand. Someone has to make sure they don't follow. Get this to Commander Nash. Tell her New Eden was just the beginning. The predecessors knew this day would come. Before June could protest, he sealed her pod and launched it. Other pods streaked away from the station as Dominion ships entered visual range. Rohan returned to his lab, activating one final protocol. The quantum drives powering Helio Station had another purpose, one the Dominion would discover too late. As enemy forces breached the outer defenses, Rohan smiled grimly. The predecessors hadn't just left behind weapons. They'd left behind a blueprint for resistance. The station's quantum core overloaded, creating a localized singularity that consumed everything within its reach. In the chaos, a single pod carrying Professor Junwei and humanity's hope slipped away into quantum space. The war for survival had entered a new phase, and the galaxy's balance of power was about to shift dramatically. Lieutenant Freya Winters moved through the shadows of Nexus Prime's undercity, her nano-camouflage adapting to match the corroded metal walls. Above, the Dominion's capital city stretched toward the purple sky, its crystalline spires a monument to imperial power. Below, in the forgotten depths, resistance took root in darkness. Target location ahead, whispered the neural interface in her mind. Security protocols detected. Freya paused at an intersection of maintenance tunnels, her enhanced vision scanning for patrol drones. Professor Wei's data crystal had led them here, to the heart of enemy territory. Somewhere in these depths lay a secret the Dominion had buried, a predecessor facility that predated the Empire itself. Movement detected, the interface warned. Multiple signatures approaching. Freya pressed herself against a wall as a patrol of sentinel guards passed below. Their crystalline armor, modeled after Emperor Zaratha's own form, refracted the dim light. These weren't the mindless drones that usually patrolled the undercity. The Dominion was protecting something. Once the patrol passed, Freya descended to a lower level. The air grew thicker with ancient dust. Her sensors detected trace elements of quantum energy, the same signature found in the ruins on Proxima 7. Lieutenant, Commander Nash's voice whispered through her neural link. Status report. I'm close, Freya subvocalized. The energy readings are getting stronger. But there's heavy security down here. They know something's hidden in these tunnels. Professor Wei's analysis suggests the facility contains more than just technology. The predecessors left behind information, the true history of the Dominion's rise to power. Freya reached a massive door sealed with quantum locks. Unlike the newer Dominion technology, these locks bore the distinct patterns of predecessor design. She retrieved a device from her suit, a quantum resonator built from Dr. Patel's final research. Beginning bypass sequence, she reported. The resonator pulsed with energy, matching frequencies encoded in the ancient locks. Commander, if the Dominion finds out we're accessing their buried secrets. They already killed millions at New Eden, Nash replied grimly. We're far beyond concern for Imperial retaliation. The locks disengaged with a sound like distant thunder. The door split along invisible seams, revealing a chamber that defied comprehension. Predecessor technology lined the walls, still humming with power after millennia of dormancy. I'm in, Freya breathed. It's incredible. The facility is still active. She approached a central console, its surface responding to her presence. Holographic displays sprang to life, filling the chamber with ghostly light. But before she could begin downloading data, her neural interface screamed a warning. Imperial forces detected. Multiple levels converging on your location. They're not just guarding it, Freya realized. They're waiting for someone to find it. This is a trap. The facility's entrance exploded inward as sentinel guards poured through. Freya dove behind the console, energy weapons scorching the air where she'd stood. But the guards didn't advance. Instead, they formed a perimeter as a new figure entered the chamber. High Inquisitor Ven, her crystalline form more elegant and deadly than the guards, surveyed the scene with calculated interest. I must admit, we expected someone sooner. Humanity's persistence is remarkable, if futile. Freya remained silent, her mind racing through escape scenarios. The Inquisitor continued, her voice carrying an almost musical quality. Did you truly believe the predecessors would leave behind the means of their own revenge? That they could reach across eons to overthrow the natural order. Natural order. Freya couldn't help but respond. You stole their technology, used it to enslave the galaxy. Ven laughed, the sound like breaking glass. We didn't steal anything. We inherited it. The predecessors didn't vanish, they evolved. You're looking at their legacy. The revelation hit Freya like a physical blow. The Dominion's crystalline forms, their quantum technology, they weren't conquerors who had found ancient weapons. They were the predecessors, transformed by their own pursuit of perfection. But in that moment of shock, something else happened. The facility's systems, dormant for so long, responded to Freya's presence in an unexpected way. A new protocol activated, one that even the Dominion had never discovered. Genetic signature detected, announced an ancient voice. Contingency protocol initiated. The chamber's technology pulsed with blinding light. Ven's triumphant expression turned to confusion, then fear, as she recognized symbols appearing in the holographic displays. Impossible, the Inquisitor whispered. The human genome couldn't possibly. Freya didn't understand everything that was happening, but she knew one thing: the facility had recognized something in her DNA, something that changed everything about humanity's place in this war. The true hidden protocol had finally activated, and the galaxy's oldest secrets were about to resurface. Admiral Marcus Bishop stood before the holographic war table aboard the hidden base Sanctuary Deep, watching as Lieutenant Winter's transmission changed everything. Representatives from humanity's surviving colonies gathered around him, their faces illuminated by the shocking data streaming in from Nexus Prime. The genetic markers are unmistakable, Professor Jun Wei explained, her hands moving through the holographic DNA strands. We're not just fighting the predecessors, we're their inheritors, just as much as the Dominion is. But we followed a different evolutionary path. Marcus studied the ancient data recovered from the facility. Where the Dominion had pursued technological perfection, transforming themselves into crystalline beings of pure energy, humanity had maintained their organic form. Both were children of the same creators, engineered for different purposes. This explains why their weapons affected us so severely, Commander Nash added, her hologram flickering from her position near the Arcturus front. They weren't just attacking us, they were trying to erase what they saw as a failed evolutionary branch. But the facility recognized Lieutenant Winters, Marcus noted, his deep voice carrying across the chamber. The predecessors left behind failsafes that only we can access. Why? Before anyone could answer, proximity alerts blared through the base. A quantum wake had been detected, massive ships entering nearby space. Everyone tensed, expecting Dominion forces, but the signatures were different. Unknown vessel configuration, reported Strategic Officer Ramon. They're broadcasting on predecessor frequencies. The war table's display shifted, showing 3 massive ships unlike anything they'd seen before. Their organic, flowing designs contrasted sharply with both human and Dominion architecture. As they watched, a transmission cut through their security protocols with ease. Children of divergent paths, a voice spoke, neither human nor crystalline, the time of reunion approaches. The chamber erupted in chaos, but Marcus raised his hand for silence. Identify yourself. We are the Guardians, left behind to watch and wait. When both paths of evolution reached their designated point, we were to awaken. That time has come. Professor Wei's eyes widened. The predecessors didn't just create us and the Dominion, they created observers to monitor our development. They knew this conflict would come. The Dominion believes they achieved perfection, the Guardian voice continued. They forgot that evolution without diversity leads to stagnation. Humanity maintained the capacity for adaptation, for change. Both paths were necessary. Marcus leaned forward. Necessary for what? For survival. The predecessors foresaw a threat greater than internal division. The true enemy approaches from beyond the galactic rim. The Dominion's crystalline perfection and humanity's adaptive potential, both are needed for the coming war. Tactical displays sprang to life, showing something massive moving in intergalactic space. The Guardians shared data that made even the hardened military leaders step back in shock. This is why the facility activated its hidden protocol, Professor Wei realized. It wasn't just about revealing our heritage, it was about forcing both sides to confront the truth before it's too late. Marcus straightened, his mind already formulating strategies. How long do we have? Months, perhaps less. The Dominion must be made to understand. Their quest for perfection has blinded them to the greater design. You, Admiral Bishop, must lead the force that will either unite both evolutionary paths or watch all life in this galaxy fade into oblivion. The war table updated with new information, locations of other Guardian vessels, hidden predecessor facilities, and weapons that could match Dominion technology. But Marcus knew weapons alone wouldn't be enough. They needed to change the very nature of this conflict. Contact Commander Nash and Lieutenant Winters, he ordered. Tell them to hold their positions near Nexus Prime. Professor Wei, I need everything you can give me on predecessor communication protocols. And someone get me a direct line to Emperor Zareth. The Emperor won't listen, Nash warned. After what he did to New Eden. He'll listen, Marcus replied grimly, because we're about to show him something he fears more than human resistance, the truth about his own imperfection. Operation Phoenix isn't just about surviving the Dominion anymore. It's about saving them from themselves. The Guardian ships moved into defensive positions around Sanctuary Deep as Marcus prepared for the most important diplomatic mission in human history. They had to convince their greatest enemy that ancient hatred meant nothing in the face of extinction. The real war hadn't even begun. The Imperial throne room of Nexus Prime shimmered with quantum energy as Emperor Zareth faced the combined delegation of humans and Guardians. His crystalline form pulsed with barely contained rage, but beneath it lay something new, uncertainty. You dare, he hissed, to claim we are imperfect? That our evolution was merely one path of many? Admiral Bishop stood his ground, flanked by Commander Nash and Lieutenant Winters. Behind them, the Guardian emissaries' organic crystalline hybrid form served as living proof of their claims. The evidence is irrefutable, Bishop stated, projecting the genetic data through the room's holographic systems. Your transformation wasn't an ascension, it was a specialization. The predecessors created both our species for a greater purpose. The massive viewscreen behind the throne activated, showing the approaching threat. Vast entities moved between galaxies, their forms defying conventional physics. The void between stars darkened in their wake. The Harvesters, the Guardian explained, its voice resonating through crystal and flesh alike. They consume entire galaxies, breaking down all matter and energy into their base components. They've detected our technological advancement. They come. Zareth rose from his throne, his fourth set of eyes focusing on the display. Even if what you say is true, why should we trust humans? After their resistance, their defiance dash. After New Eden. Commander Nash interrupted, stepping forward. After you murdered millions. Because despite that, we're here. We're offering a chance to face this threat together. Professor Wei, who had been analyzing data streams from both Guardian and Dominion sources, spoke up. The predecessors understood that survival requires both stability and adaptation. The Dominion's crystalline forms provide perfect quantum coherence, while human biology offers unlimited potential for change. Apart, we're vulnerable. Together. We're what the predecessors intended all along, Lieutenant Winters finished. She activated the gene-locked protocols recovered from the hidden facility, and the throne room's ancient systems responded. Predecessor technology, dormant for eons, hummed to life. The room filled with ghostly images, the original predecessors, showing the moment they chose to split their species into two paths. They had foreseen the coming of the Harvesters, known that no single form of life could withstand them. The Harvesters will reach the galaxy's edge in 3 months, Admiral Bishop reported. Already, their advance forces have begun breaking down the outer barrier systems. We need to move now. Emperor Zareth stood silent for a long moment, his crystalline form refracting the light of a billion stars. Finally, he spoke. How? The Guardian gestured, and new holographic displays appeared. The predecessors left behind more than weapons. In facilities across the galaxy, they stored the templates for true hybridization. Not just an alliance, a transformation. Both species, evolved together, combining the strengths of both paths. It would mean the end of the Dominion as you know it, Nash said quietly. And humanity would change too. We'd become something new. Something stronger. And if we refuse? Zareth demanded. The displays showed simulations of the Harvester's approach. World after world, regardless of species, reduced to basic particles. The void spreading, unstoppable. Admiral Bishop stepped forward, offering his hand to the Emperor. Then we die divided, proving the predecessors wrong. Or we take this chance, evolve once more, and show them their faith in both our species was justified. Alarms blared throughout the palace. The outer defense networks had detected the first wave of Harvester scout ships entering the galaxy. Time had run out. Zareth looked at Bishop's offered hand, then at the approaching doom displayed on his screens. With a motion that shattered thousands of years of hatred, he reached out. Begin the hybridization protocols, he commanded. Alert all Dominion worlds. And he paused, his voice carrying the weight of history, prepared to assist our human kindred in evacuation and transformation procedures. As the ancient machinery of change hummed to life, Commander Nash watched the first hybrid vessels rise from hidden predecessor facilities. They were beautiful, neither crystal nor steel, but something entirely new. Lieutenant Winter's genetic key had unlocked more than just weapons, it had unlocked the future. The war between humanity and the Dominion ended not with destruction, but with transformation. And as the Harvesters approached, they would find not two divided species, but a single race ready to defend their galaxy. The children of the predecessors had finally come home. In orbit above Nexus Prime, human and Dominion ships began the complex dance of integration, their crews preparing for the greatest evolution in galactic history. The true war for survival was about to begin, but this time, they would face it together.